Shri Ritabrata Banerjee.
Sir, I stand to make my speech.
Ritabrata ji, you have 15 minutes.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I stand to make my speech speaking on the budget for the All India Trinamool Congress. As an MP from Bengal, this is a special time to be speaking. Last week, history was being made in my state. Captains of industry, thought leaders, heads of missions of 40 countries, and leading entrepreneurs from across the world were drawn to Bengal for the two-day Bengal Global Business Summit. Last week, many path-breaking projects were announced, from AI to tourism, from steel to energy to telecom. About a mammoth of rupees 4 lakh plus crore in new investments and tens of thousands of prospective jobs made the headlines. One of the world's biggest industrialists said this at the Bengal Global Business Summit in Kolkata. Quote, "Now Bengal is also witnessing a renaissance in economy and business, and no power on earth can stop Bengal's resurgence." Unquote. Yes, madam, Bengal means business. Now let me dissect the below par union budget presented last week. India has more than 50% of its population below the age of 25 years and more than 65 below the age of 35. Now the question is whether the country looks upon this population as a liability or as a resource. This is the basic question which the budget must deal upon. And sir and madam, in the dark times, will there also be singing? Yes, there will also be singing. There will be singing about the dark times. The previous budget, the Honorable Finance Minister has just left, the previous budget presented by her in July 2024 after the Lok Sabha election had accorded priority to employment and skill development given the nature of the election mandate. The Finance Minister had announced a Prime Minister package of 5 schemes and initiatives to facilitate job and internship opportunities for 4.1 crore youth over a 5-year period with a central outlay of rupees 2 lakh crore. However, this year's budget, February 1st, did not refer to the Prime Minister's package even once. There is not even a single mention of the package. What we learned that a cabinet note on employment-linked incentive scheme is under finalization, Ministry of Labour and CII discussing it with the relationship between capital expenditure and employment generation. In simple words, the future of the scheme looks completely bleak. Now the periodic labour force survey, the PLFS, it's a government data. It reveals that in 23-24, youth unemployment rate 15 to 29 years has gone up to 10.2, and the unemployment rate among graduates 13%. The latest economic survey data is showing that every year the self-employed male workers, the real earnings are decreasing constantly from 17-18. There is a constant decline. The real wage of male workers, salaried workers, constantly declining. Surplus labor inundating the job market combined with high food inflation have severely squeezed the real incomes and livelihoods of an overwhelming majority of Indian workforce. For a finance minister and a government always telling sabke saath, sabka vikas, to overlook this is really, really dangerous. Modi government's mammoth bank heist, bank loot for the last 10 years has taken toll of our hard-earned public money. Over the last 10 years, frauds and corporate sharks frittered away at least rupees 12 lakh crore of rupees 16.11 lakh crore our banking system has written off. Out of this, the nationalized banks alone have written off more than 12 lakh crore. When the Honorable Finance Minister replies, I will urge upon that she must tell the House that how much of these written off loans of nationalized banks have been recovered. Now, we could also compare this 16.11 lakh crore that has been written off, that disappeared over 10 years with the union government budgets for education, where the total expenditure was less than 40% of this, and for health, where it was less than half. To make up for this lost money, banks charge higher and higher user charges for every little service. The rates for loans go up because banks have suffered at the hands of frauds and fund siphoning. Now, sir, Madam, the stupefying increase in the wealth of the favored 10 topmost cronies through favors, rule tweaking, and the low-value sale of high-value national assets during Modi's rule has been massive. But the rupees 12 lakh crore wipeout by nationalized banks may help us understand how the next tier of cronies and beneficiaries gain from the regime. After all, our money in banks did not really disappear. They just hopped on to line the pockets of those who knew their way around in very complex, corrupt and dark times. Now, in 1956, both the houses deliberated for 3 months. LIC was formed. The then Prime Minister of the country, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, gave from the corpus rupees 5 crore for the formation of the LIC. LIC started its journey. Today, LIC means 51,000 crore of rupees. LIC means 30 crore of policy holders. Now you are allowing 100% FDI, allowing total freedom and greater access to foreign capital could only retard the orderly growth of the insurance industry with the focus more on profits rather than providing the people and business the much needed security. Our Honorable Chief Minister has written to the Finance Minister last year on August 2nd. She wrote a letter asking her to withdraw the 18% GST on life insurance and health insurance policies. I quote from the letter, quote, "With deep anguish, I am writing to you regarding the imposition of 18% GST on life insurance and health insurance policies and the withdrawal of deductions. The GST is bad because it adversely affects the people's ability to take care of their basic vital needs. This additional burden may be acting as a deterrent for many individuals from taking new policies or continuing their existing insurance coverage, thereby leaving them vulnerable for unforeseen financial distress," unquote. Now, regarding the withdrawal of the GST on health insurances, the Finance Minister is always shifting the onus to the GST Council. Sir, Madam, everybody is aware who is in charge of the GST Council, who controls the GST Council. It is the BJP-ruled states who are the majority in the GST Council. Then what is stopping the Finance Minister and her party? The lack of political will is stopping them to roll back this GST on health insurances. Madam, I was born and brought up in a refugee colony in the added areas of Kolkata. Migrated people bearing the bonds of partition had set up these colonies where from our adolescence we learned that when politics determines our future, we must determine the politics. Yes. Political awareness runs in every blood and veins of Bengal in general and these innumerable refugee colonies in particular. Though I don't have the first-hand experience of the horrors of partition, unlike my father, still like many third or fourth generation refugee, I consider my refugee ancestry as one of my greatest badges of honor. This refugee ancestry had passed on the political understanding of fighting for legitimate rights. As a trade union activist, fighting for the rightful dues of the working people becomes my duty. You are denying the people of their dues, denying the people of Bengal of their rightful dues. You are denying the MGNREGS workers. They are not in a begging mood anymore, as they have realized that this denial is completely political. West Bengal is owed a staggering figure of rupees 1.75 lakh crores. The delay has not only affected the implementation of critical programs, but also created challenges for local governance, particularly in rural areas that depend heavily on such funds for employment and infrastructure development. Madam, so the fight for these funds are necessarily political. We are aware that we are standing here. If we shift our position, we shift to the other side, things will fall in place. But Bengal refuses to surrender. Yeah. Bengal hates to surrender. Bengal will never surrender. Bengal will never bow down. I understand the problem of the treasury benches. You cannot fight Mamata Banerjee politically. You cannot match Mamata Banerjee's good governance. You cannot match Mamata Banerjee's welfare scheme. So you continue depriving lakhs of our people. The more will be your deprivation, the sharper and greater will be our resolve, the resolve of our people to fight you in a befitting manner. The resolve finds resonance in the immortal words of the true polymath, who has been our greatest identity. গত 1000 বছরের শ্রেষ্ঠ বাঙালি, শুধু শ্রেষ্ঠ বাঙালি নন, যিনি ভারতবর্ষের ধারণাকে চিরকাল একেবারে সর্বাগ্রে তুলে ধরেছেন. The greatest Bengali of the last 1000 years, it was Tagore who said, চিত্ত যেতা ভয় শূন্য উচ্চ যেতা শির, জ্ঞান যেতা মুক্ত যেতা গৃহের প্রাচীর, আপন প্রাঙ্গণ তলে দিবস সর্বরি, বসুধারে রাখে নাই খণ্ড ক্ষুদ্র করি. But the mind is without fear and the head is held high, when knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arm towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Now, Madam, as I am a trade union activist, I want to give this august house some necessary figures. It is believed, I am not a student of economics, but these are very basic figures that when unorganized workforce in a country goes on increasing, the health of the economy is not in a proper shape. Now let me look into the figures that are available. The figure says, in unorganized laborers in Africa, 86% in the unorganized sectors, 14% in the organized sector. In Asia, Pacific and Arab countries, 68% in the unorganized sector, 32% in the organized sector. In Americas, 40% in the unorganized sector, 60% in the organized sector. In Europe and Central Asian countries, 26% in the unorganized sector and 74% in the organized sector. And now we come to Vishwaguru's India. Just let me tell the House, as a trade union activist, we are facing these problems. There are serious implications of this. 93% of the workforce has come under the ambit of unorganized workers. Only 7% are organized workers. The organized workers definitely had some statutory benefits, but the unorganized workers are deprived of the statutory benefits. 50% contribution of the GDP of our country comes from the unorganized sector. 6% of them are only falls under the social security measures. The blood, toil, sweat and tears of these workers are the bulwark of our economy, but the budget has completely neglected them, has said nothing about them. Now I want to mention about two schemes. One is the Pradhanmantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, PMSYM. This is a central scheme, and a state scheme of Bengal known as Binamulye Samajik Suraksha Yojana, BMSSY. The PMSYM, the Pradhanmantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana. In this, they are the unorganized people who want to come under this scheme has to contribute every month. Every month you have to contribute money. And in the BMSSY scheme of Mamata Banerjee, you need not contribute a single rupee. The entire money for 18 to 60 years is given by the government. Now, I come to figures, flat figures. The figures tell us the report up to January 2025 in Bengal is Binamulya Samajik Suraksha Yojana of Mamata Banerjee. Number of registration, unorganized workers, 1,76 lakh plus. I repeat, 1,76 lakh plus. Number of benefit distributed, 34,94,000, almost 35 lakhs. And the amount distributed is 2,606 crores. Let the central government show political will and take up the responsibility and make the entire contribution from the workers like Mamata Banerjee is doing in the central schemes. Now, sir, as I am a trade union worker, and Prakash, who stays in a tea garden, he is a worker of a tea garden in the northern part of Bengal, I will mention about some tea chronology that is very essential to mention. In 2016, when I was a member of this House, Honorable Finance Minister was then Commerce and Industry Minister. This is the Gazette notification. So the Gazette notification is dated 28th of January 2016, wherein the Gazette notification, before that the Honorable Prime Minister had gone to Madarihat, they are promised about taking up some Sikh gardens. So this Gazette notification on 28th of January mentioned Birpara, Garganda, Lonkapara, Tulsipara, Hantapara, Dhumchipara, Dimnima. 7 gardens will be taken over by tea board. Within 8 months, all these gardens got closed, and it was Mamata Banerjee and the Labour Department who took all the initiative of opening these tea gardens. 2016 was the assembly elections of Bengal. Now come to 2021-22 budget. In the budget, 1,000 crores announced for Assam and Bengal tea garden. I don't know about Assam, but as far Bengal's experience is concerned, not a single penny has reached us. Now this year when the budget has been announced, their tea imports are hampering us. The central government's decision of plucking dates there is a damage of 7% crop, tea crop problems are there. But the tea garden, there is a discussion in the tea garden. Common workers are discussing in the tea garden. Oh, this year is 2025. So in this budget, nothing will come. Bengal's assembly election is in 2026. So in 2026, definitely, in 16, there has been there. In 21, there has been there. Again in 26, you will have some promises about the jumlas, about the tea gardens. But the results will come out in the month of May. Next year, when Mamata Banerjee becomes the Chief Minister of West Bengal for the 4th consecutive time, we will be back here in the House and we will not raise slogans. We will come back in the House and we will be raising people's issues. Now, Madam, the fight against the anti-people policies will intensify. The fight against the discrimination of Bengal will intensify. This regime will try to suppress all truth by all possible means. I will take half a minute, Madam, just half a minute. This regime will try to suppress all possible truth by all possible means. There will be conspiracies to bury Bengal into oblivion. But the voice of Bengal cannot be choked. But the voice of Bengal cannot be stifled. The people of Bengal, under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, will give a befitting rebuff to the anti-people policies. El Pueblo.
The party has so much of time. Please do not switch the word. Please do not switch the microphone off. The party has only 40 minutes. We give him 1 more minute. We have not given him 20 seconds and a microphone has been switched off.
The fight against the anti-people policies will intensify. The fight against the discrimination of Bengal will intensify. This regime will try to suppress all truth by all possible means. There will be conspiracies to bury Bengal and Bengalis into oblivion. But our voice cannot be choked. Our voice cannot be stifled. Bengal, under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, will give a fitting rebuff to the anti-people policies of the government. El Pueblo Unido, Bojo Mamata Banerjee, Llama Sera Vencido. The people united under Mamata Banerjee shall always be victorious. Joy Bangla.
Everyone is participating in the budget speech. 1 minute this way, 1 minute this way. What has happened today is the speaker's microphone has been switched off. The microphone, these are very basic issues not to fight over. They're not basic issues not to fight. Somebody from that side may go over by 1 minute. We may go over by 1 minute. The party has 45 minutes of time. At 45 minutes, if you switch it off, I'm not suggesting, madam, with all respect to you, can you please ensure that this thing doesn't happen? It's unbelievable that it's happened. His conclusion has been wiped off. Just 1 minute. This is not a complaint, madam. It's a good debate. Everybody is speaking. But please understand how we are feeling. The second largest opposition party here with 13 MPs, with 40 minutes on our clock, our opening speaker's mic is switched off. Okay. Somebody has to take care. And my appeal to you, through the chairman, is let's get all the experience we have in this house to make not this happen again. Thank you.